Today. Thanks for being part of the worship and tech ministry here at Crossover. Today, I'm going to give you guys just a brief overview of Planning Center Online, what it is, how we use it, and what's it for. Hopefully that'll make your life easier in terms of navigating. And it's pretty simple to navigate, but just wanted to give a brief tutorial so you guys have a better understanding of it. Planning Center Online is basically where we store all of our services that are happening here at Crossover. So we store all of our Sunday morning services, we store all of our Wednesday night services, retreats, different things like that. And it's also where we keep all of our information for our volunteers. It's also where we can send out invitations to our volunteers as well to serve. What we'll do right now is we'll just hop on Planning Center Online. We'll just kind of take a quick look around and see what's on there. First thing you want to do is head to planningcenteronline.com. You can kind of see mine just autofills there, but it's planningcenteronline.com. And then the first thing you'll want to do if you're not logged in is you'll want to log in. And so the first thing we do with new volunteers is we send them an email from Planning Center Online, just as a welcome email, and say, hey, welcome to Planning Center. And it helps you get set up with a login, password, different things like that. So that you should have already received that by this point. So we'll just go ahead and log in here. And then this tutorial is just for the web browser of Planning Center Online. There is a app as well, and many people use the app. I prefer the web browser, and mostly for the work I do, it's a lot easier, but the app is also an option too. But this tutorial is just for the web browser. So when you open up Planning Center, the first place it's going to take you is where it says plans here. So you'll see all these different plans, types of services. So connecting point, guest services, retreats, special services, all these different services here. So, and if there's a service you want to look at that's not open, you can click on this little black arrow that's pointed to the right at the moment and click on it, and that'll point down. You can see, oh, there's no services, or yes, there are maybe services in there. So once in here, you can navigate to whatever service you want to look at. So for today, for purposes, we'll just look at June 6th. So we can click on June 6th, and that'll take us right to the plan. And then there's several things we can look at in here. So we can kind of see a basic overview of, hey, what's actually in this service. You can see there's a call to worship, a song, a greeting time, video, song, scriptures, teaching time, response time. So this gives you an idea of what's happening in the service. So when you come on Saturday night, you will receive a printed out set list that has this information on it. So you'll receive that, and so that's something you'll follow along and to kind of know what's happening during the service, during rehearsal, as we're going through things. But this is a way to kind of let you know beforehand. If you say, hey, I want to just see what's happening, you can go in there and look. There's also different things on specific items like songs. There's different attachments that I'll show you guys that you can look at if you're in the band or you're singing. So there's different things you can look at. So for most of these items, you can click on them and you'll see kind of a description. You'll see notes. So on Saturday night, you'll have specific notes. So say you're on camera, it's going to say keep a tight visual on the worship leader. So that'll be printed out for you in kind of in a printed out format that you'll be able to see. And if we go to the next item, you'll see, hey, there's a song. Now on songs, now this is helpful if you're in the band or you're a vocalist. So it shows our song here. It shows the key that we're singing it in. We're singing it in the key of E. Shows the notes, as I said before. You could look if there are, vocal notes there. And again, that'll be printed out for you on Saturday night. But you could also look in the file section here. Usually there's attachments. Say you're like, hey, I've never heard this song before in my life. Well, there's a YouTube link right here that you can go look there. And then there's, several other YouTube links as well. There's chord charts as well. So with chord charts, I usually attach those in a different way that I'll show you in a second for singers and vocalists. But this is also another way you can look, and there's just some basic arrangements in there Probably not the version that we'll end up doing on Sunday, but they're there. But the most helpful is probably for the YouTube link. You can see, hey, there's a YouTube link. I can watch the song, and if I've never heard it before, listen to it. So that's kind of an idea of what's in here. So really, uses for this page would be like if you're a singer or a musician, you can see different attachments for different songs. And really for tech or musician, you can see just kind of a basic order of service. And then this tab over here is helpful because it allows you to see several other things. So times, if you click on times, you can see the service times and rehearsal time. So if we click on service time, it'll be just the Sunday morning, 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock. And if we click on rehearsal time, let's say you're like, hey, I'm scheduled for, camera, and I can't remember what time I'm supposed to be there. Click on rehearsal time, and it'll show you, hey, tech rehearsals at 6 o'clock. And then Saturday evening rehearsal, that's with everybody, is at 6:30. And then this one's not labeled right now, but that's for vocals. And then this is for Sunday morning. Looks like right now we're meeting at 7 a.m. on Sunday morning. So that's really helpful to see the times of the service. And then if we click on teams, you'll see everybody that you're serving with right here. And then you can also click on this teams button. You can see all these different things. So say you're thinking, hey, I can't remember if I'm serving on, June 20th. Well, you can click on June 20th and you can look at the teams and see, hey, yes, I am. If you're Robbie Thompson, you're like, hey, I'm scheduled for a camera on that day. So that's kind of another use for it. And then if we go back to this here, if it cooperates with me, well, maybe I have to refresh the page here. So we'll go back to this button here, and then files. So that's where you would find any file attachments for the service. We'll go back a couple services here so you can see where there is some file attachments. So right now there is attachments here for like band and vocalists, chord charts. There's also an MP3 recording that I put out for the band and for the vocals. So one where I sing through everything in the correct key that we're going to be playing it on Sunday morning, and just as a way for you to practice with something that's in the right key and right tempo, correct roadmap. And then the roadmaps is just kind of a brief overview of what we're doing on Saturday night, and that's just for band and vocals. You can find that in the file section. And then notes, there's usually nothing in notes, so that's nothing to worry about. So the plans view is where you can look at all the different services. You can go in, you can see if you're scheduled, you can see what time rehearsals are and when you need to be at church. And so that's kind of the basic use for that section there. And then obviously there's more specific uses for if you're a band or vocalist versus like a tech person as well. And then another helpful feature here is the My Schedule button. And that's where you can kind of go and just see, hey, at a glance, like, where am I scheduled? What am I doing? So this shows me all the places that I'm scheduled to serve and what roles I've been asked to play in those services. So you can see like I'm doing acoustic guitar, and I'm the worship leader, and I'm doing a musical response time, and several different things. So you'll see if you're, it'll show up if you're scheduled for more than one thing in there as well. So all the green buttons the green check marks mean that I've confirmed the request. So when you're scheduled to sing or to play or to be in the tech booth on a specific date, you'll get an email from Planning Center, and usually it's labeled from either me or Thomas, sometimes Nick, depending on who's doing the scheduling. It says, hey, you're scheduled to serve on this specific date, and you'll have an opportunity to decline or to accept the invitation. So, and really the most helpful is if you can accept or decline is as soon as you know whether you're available or not. So if it hasn't been accepted, there'll be a yellow question mark there. And so that really is what we don't like the most is the yellow question marks, because that just says we don't know what's happening. So we usually try to send out our invites for everybody about a month in advance to give people plenty of time to decide, hey, am I available? Am I working? Am I on vacation? Or different things. So really, and declining is not a, it's not a bad thing in itself. It just says, hey, at this specific date, I had something going on. So really, that's most helpful if we can know that information as soon as possible, and then that way we can reschedule you if you need to be rescheduled, or find something that fits a little bit better for that. So this just shows broad overview of, hey, this is what I'm scheduled. This is everything that I'm currently scheduled for. Songs and media tab is nothing that would pertain. That's more for like a worship leader putting together a set. People tab is just all the volunteers that are in Planning Center. So really, the tabs here on the browser would be the My Schedule, which shows just everything you've been scheduled for, and then the Plans button, which just shows you all the different plans within Crossover that we're doing, and you can go again and see what's on the order of service, see when you're scheduled, see what rehearsal times are, all those different things, which is really helpful. So the other thing that you can go look at is your own profile. So you can click on this right hand side here, click on your profile, and then there's yet another way to look at what you're scheduled for. And you'll see all my different schedules. You'll see the ones that I haven't confirmed yet are the yellow check marks, so I need to do those. And then you'll just be able to see all that there. Preferences, you can set your preferences to serve as much or as little as you are able to. If you're thinking, hey, I'm only able to serve twice, I'm able to serve once, or hey, I don't really have a preference, I can serve whenever, you can set that. And then what that does is that just notifies us when we're scheduling somebody of, hey, this person has a preference of they would like to only be scheduled twice a month. So if for some reason we needed you 3 times a month, then we would reach out and say, hey, like I see that your preference is only to serve twice a month, but there's really nobody else to serve. Like, would you be willing to serve an extra time this month? So that just kind of lets us know ahead of time. And then blockout dates is a really helpful feature. So blockout date just says, hey, I'm absolutely not available this date because I have something else going on. My wife and I are going to Costa Rica this month. So, I would block out those dates, and you can click and you can, on the specific date that you're not available, you can add another date by clicking on it, or you can also select a start and an end date. And then you can give a reason, say, hey, I'm on a missions trip, I'm out of town, I'm working, and any blockout dates we will not schedule you for, and that just lets us know ahead of time. And if there's a work thing, like, hey, I know I work, every other week, I can't do these, you could block those out, and that would be helpful. And then that way you don't also get emails that you have to decline. So that is a helpful way there. Communication is just, you can go back and look at previous communication. Say you're like, hey, I know I was scheduled a specific day, or I know I received an email about something special, but I can't remember what it was, and I think I deleted it from my inbox in my web browser. You can go back here and you can see all the communication that you've received or that you've sent to anybody, and you can just take a look at that again, and that's a helpful thing there as well. And then details, it just has a few details. Nothing in there that necessarily for volunteer would be pertinent. And then you can also edit your profile if you need to edit your profile. If you want a cool picture of somebody playing a guitar with long hair that I don't have, you can put that there. You can update your email, you can update your phone number, and then with Planning Center, there's 2 primary ways of communication. It's phone number or email. And so in order to get phone text notifications, you would need to put your wireless phone provider. So I have Verizon Wireless there, and then that lets me know, and then that lets Planning Center know who the provider is, and then they can send text messages, which text alerts are very handy. So they usually go out a day ahead of time. So say you're supposed to be at church at 6:30 on Saturday, well, you'll get a text reminder. Usually goes around 10 a.m. The previous day, like on Friday, says, hey, don't forget you're scheduled to be there at 6:30 on Saturday night to serve in the tech booth. So that's really helpful because it just kind of reminds you of your scheduled dates. And then if you want to put any of this information, I usually just put in like you know, sex, male, female, and then if you really want me to know your birthday, you can put your birthday in. So just things there that you can do as well. And then text notifications. So it says right here that Verizon has stopped supporting text notifications, but I have Verizon and I get text notifications, so I don't know what that's about exactly. So, and then it also a little customizable there that you can say you're like, I only want reminders for the plans. I don't want anything else to come through text. I'll get those through an email. Then you can, deselect the boxes or check the boxes for the ones you want. And so it's a little bit customizable there as to what you would be getting through text messages. Yeah, so that is kind of a brief overview. So hopefully that's helpful. So again, so if you are scheduled, you receive an email. It says, "Hey, you're scheduled for this time. You can accept or decline." So really, we just ask, please accept or decline as soon as you're able to. That lets us know if we need to schedule somebody else. And then all these different tabs just helps you kind of navigate through, hey, what plans am I serving on? When am I serving? What do I need to know in each service? Do I need to know the song order, or do I need to look at an attachment there? And I communicate a lot of that with the band and the vocals already, just in based on emails that I personally send out. But this is just another way to look at that as well. So it's a really useful tool and fairly simple to navigate. So primarily, you'll probably want to be using it for just checking scheduling and checking when you're scheduled to serve and things like that. And then also, I would suggest make sure that you have notifications enabled for text message. So just put in your wireless provider so that you get text notifications to remind you when you're serving. So just a brief overview. So hopefully that is helpful for you. And thanks again, guys, for serving on Worship Tech at Crossover.